good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're joined by an extremely special guest. Man, this brother here, what can I say, man? This one has been long overdue. I've been tapped in with the Show Your Work podcast, and he's one of the founders of the podcast and a member of the union conglomerate. And he's here to talk some all things New York Mets. So, without further ado, we got the good brother Nelson in the building. Nelson, what's good, bro?
Oh man, Danny, appreciate you for having me here, man. I know we've been talking about it for a minute, but I'm glad. We was able to get it done. I'm ready to talk some baseball, because I happen to be the baseball enthusiast of the union to a degree.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm looking forward to it for sure. Thanks for having me, though. Most importantly.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad you could be on. So, Show Your Work. How did that come about? Because I love listening to y'all when y'all have y'all's live stream. I get the notification for y'all's live streams.
Oh man, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Man, so initially it was just a sports podcast, and the term came from actually Clubhouse. So funny enough, Banks from Random Acts of Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him were the original two that started it. So it was more like, we could do straight sports. We can talk about whatever topics and that's kind of how it started. And then the term came from Clubhouse because I'm one of those people, if I'm gonna say something about sports, I'm gonna actually have like stuff to back it up. I am not a I understand narratives, but like if you have numbers to show me, then show it to me. So the show your work thing came from people just saying whatever they said, and I'll be like, "Oh, you said show your work. Where did you get who told you that? Where did you get that information from? Who are your sources? Because you're a little older than me, but it's okay. We are that last generation that like was half analog, half digital. We
Mm-hmm.
were like we looked at two sources or maybe three to be like, you know what? All right, cool. Like I could take this information, I could cite it, I know where it came from, and that's that. So that's where that saying came from. So initially it was a sports pod with me and Banks for a while, and then Larry came around episode 30. So actually this week, fourth wall, but this week is 230. So it'll be like his 200th episode. It's like
Wow.
some around the horn shit. Like, yeah. It's number 200 for Larry, funny enough. So funny enough, and wild thing is his episode name was Luchador Mount Rushmore. So I don't know if you're familiar with Mick Carter's and catering that Larry does with AJ.
Yeah.
We have like a side series on the Patreon called Luchador Mount Rushmore, where we talk about like Mexican wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
and like we literally do like we watch. Well, it was Mexican first. Now we're going to like the Japanese wrestlers, but we talk about like 4 or 5 matches from a certain wrestler, and kind of did that as a side like another like side project with me and him because he's like the Japanese correspondent, and I happen to just be the Mexican correspondent when it
Okay.
comes to wrestling. So there's which has been cool to watch. But we started doing that, and Larry joined. Then Trey, aka Two O's Youngin, shout the Youngin, he popped up like around 34, and then he was on for a while. Like he's still around, but he's working, so like his shift kind of clashes with the work schedule. But he's always around on the pod. He pops up on the VC when he can. And then around the time Banks had gone on to do, he was doing like Random Acts of Podcast at Black and Outside. He was doing his thing, so kind of we were like the top two, and it was just like, yo, I kind of got to do this, but I think you can hold the mantle down. And I was like, all right, cool. And then Winston came around because Winston did our graphics, and we had him on for episode, I think it was 65 was his first episode, I think. And we talked to him. We did like a little interview with him because he was around, and then just it was just so funny that everybody was like, yo, y'all should just keep him on. So we've had Winston on since episode 65. But initially, it was a sports podcast where we did a bunch of sports topics. Like our early ones were like we did like NBA street rosters with the current roster at that time. That was like 3 years ago though. So we started around 2020. Is it 2021? Actually, yeah, 2021. So yeah, this will be 2025 will be well, this year coming up will be for actually no, 3 years. Hey yo, it's been so long that I keep forgetting. January 2nd was the first note, and it was January 2nd, 2021. So yeah. Because I'm looking at the note right now. So we've been doing that ever since. But then the more podcasts we did, we kind of realized we would go to like music and like gaming and pop culture stuff. Like you watch our podcast. Like
Yeah.
we've argued about water before. Like we've argued, like we had an argument about why our homie thinks Dasani's the greatest thing ever, and I'm like, Dasani tastes terrible.
Oh no.
That I'm not gonna put his. That's my man. So I'm not gonna put his name out there. But he's near. He's near where Dasani's like. I guess the well is or wherever they get it from. So he has the raw and uncut. And I guess the East Coast gets to stepped on Dasani. So I don't know, but we talk about everything and anything. So I always just tell people it started from a sports podcast and turned into a stream of consciousness, like whatever happens, happens. So
Yeah,
that's the nature of our podcast. So that's why it's hard to kind of describe it, but I always just say you never know what we're gonna talk about. You never
really
ever know.
don't. And I had the pleasure of being a guest on y'all's podcast, and man, we had so much fun. I think it was
Yeah.
during Black History Month, and they were doing oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what
Oh, we've done so many. We've done the man, I don't even what was that episode? That's how much we talked that we were like, damn, I forgot what we talked about. I
yeah,
think I
it
have, yeah. I'm gonna look for the episode right now because I have the notes. But let me just see, man.
yeah, that was a lot
That
of
was
fun. And the chat is just an absolute zoo between B Dot and shout out Chloe Hotline, Cincinnati in the building. Man,
man.
it's just a never-ending source of entertainment.
AJ's in that pocket. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. Like our comments make everything funny. I feel like we get to talk, but we feed off. We always say we feed off the comments too.
Yeah,
That's what we like. We like to have crowd participation because we could go wherever, but when everybody else is commenting off it, we really feed off the feedback. So we appreciate that for sure.
absolutely. So let's get into some baseball, man. So
For sure.
what were Nelson's earliest baseball memories?
Oh man. Uh Shea Stadium. I'm so for people who don't know, or for new fans, I'm from New York, born and raised. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Staten Island. I lived in Staten Island, but I didn't like it was good because I moved out of Brooklyn. But as I got older, I was always in the city. I was always in Manhattan. My family was still in Brooklyn. I would go to Queens, have family in the Bronx, but mostly it was Brooklyn. So for me, it was Shea Stadium. The shout out to the Mets, of course. Went to a couple games at the old Yankee Stadium. Um, and then we have in Staten Island, we have the single A Staten Island Yankees, which they changed their name now. They're the Ferry Hawks or something like that. I don't even know.
Really?
Yeah, so their park, for people who don't know, most people who think about Staten Island, it's Wu-Tang and the mob, and I understand. And you just driving there to go to Jersey. So I understand why people don't know much about Staten Island, but the park is really literally right by the Staten Island Ferry, which is free, and you could take that from the top of Staten Island to go into Manhattan. So they made a ballpark that literally is on like the terrace or Richmond Terrace, which is the main street that's by the Staten Island Ferry. So they had the Staten Island Yankees there, and then the Brooklyn Cyclones, which play in Coney Island, next to where the Cyclone roller coaster is. So I kind of would go like Shea Stadium, then Yankee Stadium. It depends because the Yankees were good and the Mets were not that good at the time, depending on for a couple years. But my early memories were definitely Shea Stadium. Um, I think one of my earliest memories was I was on Diamond Vision eating ice cream with my sister. They called me on camera randomly. I think
Hmm.
my mother still has that picture, but yeah, I was on like the Shea Stadium Diamond Vision. If you remember Shea Stadium, it had that huge screen
Yeah.
in right center. So I was on that. I was on that camera. I was on that screen as like a 7 or 8 year old eating ice cream. So that's
Wow.
like one of my earliest memories. But Shea Stadium was fun to go to. Yankee Stadium was cool, but I kind of went to all the major parks. Um, but definitely Shea. Shea's like one of my earliest memories I do remember for baseball wise.
So what was it that drew you to the Mets over the Yankees?
I don't know if it was blue and orange or like I don't know because I'm a Knicks fan too. I just always thought like everybody rooted for the Yankees, and then my mom was a Yankee fan, but like my dad was a Met fan. But he was like, my dad is a very honest sports fan. I think that's why I get it from him. Like I have my optimism and my belief, but I don't let it go to delusion or delirium.
Hmm.
So I'll be honest, my team stinks. But I'm like, I could look at all sides of everything. But to go back to that, I think it was just really just I think I was just really just drawn by to like how the Mets weren't good, but like I've had fun at Shea Stadium. I like their logo. I grew toward more towards Mike Piazza, but I always like was I never hated on the Yankees. Like I've respected them, but you might see a couple pictures of me with Yankee stuff on as a kid, but yeah, like I just always I just was just drawn to the Mets. Like I liked Piazza, I liked John Olerud, I liked Ray Ordonez, even though he couldn't hit a beach ball with a car. Uh Edgardo Alfonso, like I don't know. I just enjoyed that team. It was just they were just more fun to me, even though they weren't that good. But yeah, I don't know. I just always enjoyed them. But I think I maybe it could be the blue and orange thing. I'm not sure.
Man, I completely forgot John Olerud played for the Mets.
Hey, John, listen, man, John Olerud. Look, you see, I told you I know some. John Olerud is underrated. He's one of the coldest, most underrated first basemen like ever. And people think, oh yeah, he was a Met and he had the hat on. I'm like, nah, John Olerud could hit, and he could field. And he was on the Blue Jays too and the Mariners. Like John Olerud was a solid player for sure. I like John Olerud a lot.
So let's keep it in that vein. So who are some of your other favorite Mets players?
Man, growing up, of course, Piazza. Like I said, I liked Edgardo Alfonso. I like Ray Ordonez, even though I said he could not hit anything. But he was a great fielder. He made fielding look fun. Then I go to like later on, it's like Reyes, of course. Beltran, support. I don't know if it's the Puerto Rican connection. I always thought he was amazing. I like David Wright, but I was just more partial to Reyes and Beltran, and even I like Delgado, Carlos Delgado when he came to the Mets for a couple years.
I forgot he played for the Mets.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Like I remember when I'm trying to think. Delgado was one, of course. Reyes, Beltran. Man, and then going later on, like that whole generation of like DeGrom and Harvey and Syndergaard. I was more partial to DeGrom than anybody, even though I liked Harvey. But something told me Harvey was like gonna flame out. I don't know what it was. I guess it was my instinct. But Syndergaard, we had Mets, Zach Wheeler, who I wish we kept, but our owners were terrible people, and got schemed by Bernie Madoff. Man, who else? I like Johan on the Mets too. And then like now, man, just the guys we have now. I like Lindor a lot. I always enjoyed Lindor, even as an Indian, a Guardian, excuse me, sorry. But but no, I always like I like Lindor, now, and of course like Soto, but man, I was always a fan. I was always a fan of just the Mets players in general. There was some plays I didn't like. I could go on for that for hours, but I'll go about the ones I did like though for sure. I even like
we can talk about
Chavez, you name them. I
I was
enjoyed
going
all of them. So
yeah, also I'm sorry, I was going to say we can get into the players you don't like too. I love that makes for a very good conversation. So before we get into that, I
mhm.
also forgot that Johan Santana pitched for the Mets as well. And I don't know why, but I was always a big fan of Steven Matz too.
I like Match, but Match used to get into his own head too much.
Yeah.
That was his problem. Like I always thought he was good, but it's just he reminds me of now. He's kind of like Brett Beatty now, but like a pitcher.
Yeah.
They're like the same person. I'm like, you're fine. Like nobody's gonna take your spot. Just give me good 5 to 6 innings, and we'll be fine. That's all I ask for. I'm not asking you to be Jacob DeGrom. Jacob DeGrom is Jacob DeGrom. You are not Jacob DeGrom. Just
Right.
give me give us a good 5 or 6. You give up 2 runs, we could live with that, and then we'll keep it moving from here on out. So match was cool. I liked Wheeler a lot, but Wheeler, I just think the way things worked with contracts and then like his injuries and like he did really well with Philly. I mean, he's about to retire, he says, after his contract is up. But I liked Wheeler a lot too. He just got hurt too much.
Yeah. So who are some of your least favorite players?
Oh God, where do I start? I'm trying to think of lately that I don't like. Oh man, I hate that I have to say this. He's in AAA now, but Francisco Alvarez has been annoying me lately. I hate that I because I like him a lot,
Hmm.
but I'm like, dude, like, why? You used to like I liked when you were a pull hitter. Why are you doing all this fancy stuff? He's trying to like be opposite fields. Like he's trying to hit like he's a shortstop. It's like, dude, you are a catcher, you are a power hitter. Just hit the ball. Just put the power and let everything go into its way. But let me go back even further. Man, who was one? There's a couple I didn't. Oh, Danny Young is one of recently. I never Reed Garrett. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's overrated. He's a reliever now. Um, Man, I didn't even like Jason Bay. Still some names out there. Jason Bay, I ain't like. Jason Bay, I couldn't stand because I'm like, why are we giving this guy all this money? I feel like he's not gonna do well. And then the Mets will always do that. They would give somebody so much money that they did nothing with it. He is one of them. I'm trying to think. Oh man, Bobby Bonilla was terrible as a kid. I remember that too.
Oh, you
That was
didn't
a
rock with Bobby Bonilla?
waste of money. I liked him in Pittsburgh as a kid, but not as a Met.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. Who else was another one? Jason Bay wasn't good. Oh man. Um Oliver Perez annoyed me a lot.
What was it about him that annoyed you?
He would just be so wishy-washy. Like he was just like it's like he would be really good and then just be really bad. Then he was just all over the place. Like just all over the absolute place. Um Jed Lowry didn't get at bat for the Mets. He was terrible. I didn't like Roberto Alomar on the Mets either. He did nothing with his contract.
Wow. I don't know
I
what.
liked him on the Blue Jays. I
Mhm.
liked Roberto Alomar before then, but as a Met, I don't know what happened. But he was just, oh God, he was just
That's
it's
another
bad.
Blue Jay to Met pipeline player that I completely forgot played for the Mets.
Trying to think who else. Oh man, hmm. I'm about to start saying some names. Carlos Zambrano was one,
He played for the Mets too.
or was it
That
Victor?
man,
It
he
was
was
one
Zambrano.
of
Well, he
them.
was one of my favorite hotheads when he was with the Cubs and the and with the Marlins.
Oh man, who else was? Who else was it? Who else was one man? Definitely, yeah, definitely. Those are definitely a couple that come off the top of my head. But like
Okay.
Oliver Perez had one solid year, and he was decent another year, and I don't know what happened with him. He could not throw a strike to save any of us. So
So,
for sure.
what were some of your favorite Mets moments?
Oh man, I gotta go. One of them is Andy Chavez the catch in '06. That I don't know how he caught that ball. I don't know what he did. Why I don't know what happened. That was like divine intervention. But definitely when Andy Chavez caught that ball. As of recent, man, for Lindor last year, I almost crashed the car off of I-77 when Lindor hit that home run. So I was coming. I'm gonna tell you the story how this happened.
Let's go.
My sister got married last year. Shout out to my sister. Shout out to my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, excuse me, and husband. So they were in the playoff hunt. We were we her like his family is Mets fans too, so we're all talking. They were losing to the Brewers. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be another Mets year, but I've dealt with this before. I've dealt with the grief, so I'm used to it. So I remember we were driving because from Charlotte to New York is about, oh no, New York back to Charlotte, so I'll give or take 10 and a half hours. So I was cool. I had the game on. I'm watching both. We win the first one. I'm like, all right, we're winning. I'm like, all right, cool. Then the Braves come back, and I'm like, I don't know about this, but just win the first one. Just win the first one, and we're fine. And then Francisco Lindor hit that walk-off home run, and I thank God I had a hand on the wheel because I wanted to punch the roof. And then my fiance sleeping, and I'm like, I can't really yell, but I want to yell.
Yeah.
Like I'm internally, like, I can feel it internally. Like, I just want to yell out loud. But um, that was a great memory. Man, Johan Santana's no hitter was a great memory.
Mm.
Um, man, every DeGrom start, damn man, that was like watching a Tyson fight. I was like, you gonna get some entertainment from Jacob DeGrom. He's throwing 100. He's doing what he does. Definitely one of those. Um, man, I'm trying to think what other ones. There's a man Piazza walk-offs. Like, was it? Is it the '99 playoffs that he has the walk-off, or was it 2000? I don't remember. I always forget the year because that's like a blur. Like from then on. Um, but man, game two of the World Series, I remember that. Another one's 9/11 too, because that was a very touchy time. I
Yeah.
was in New York. My mom, fortunately, she's still here with us. My mom worked across the street from the World Trade Center, so that was like a very interesting time. But that was a memory too where they won. But there's a bunch of different memories, but those are the ones that first come to mind.
Okay. And so, what are some of your least favorite Mets memories?
Oh my God, '06, Carlos Beltran looking at that pitch from Adam
Oh,
Wainwright. That was our World Series Because I tell people if we played the Tigers, we would have won in 4.5. We would either it would have been a sweep or gentleman sweep because that Mets team was just incredible. Man, 2015, we had a chance to win, and Matt Harvey said, "Keep me in." Uh, of course, when the Mets lost to the Yankees in 2000.
Yeah.
Um, the 100-win season from 2021, I think, when we lost to the Giants, because we should. You know what's crazy? I have a little personal story about that one. I bought the postseason hat, right? I was like, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna wear this until they get to the divisional series. They lost that game. Within 5 minutes of them losing that game, I went on Fanatics say, I'm returning this. And I returned it back. I was so angry that then when they went last year, I was like, I'm not buying anything until they're in the divisional series. Then
Right.
I will do that. Now I do that with every time I watch. I did it with the Knicks this year. I have not worn the playoff shirt. I was like, I'm gonna wear it till they lose. It's still in the wrapper. I was like, let's get out the first round and then I'll think about it. Liberty, same thing. Even though I had a feeling they were gonna win the championship with the WNBA, same thing. I waited until they won the championship and then I bought like a bunch of the playoff merch. So, um, those are a bunch of them. Man, Jacob DeGrom leaving sucked because I love DeGrom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's dealing with his injury. He was dealing with injuries. He's a lot better now this year, so I'm really happy for him. But those were some. Man, the Wilpons. There's so many. The Wilpons just signing terrible contracts. Them getting scammed by Bernie Madoff, and then we had to be cheap for 6 years because they got scammed so hard.
Mm.
That's why we couldn't sign anybody. So, but there's a bunch of bad Mets memories. These last 2 weeks have been bad too, but I've seen a lot worse. So as my memory bank opens, there's more worse ones. So of course I mentioned the Wilpons getting scammed by Bernie Madoff. All right, do you remember who John Neese was, Danny?
Mm-mm.
Jonathan Neese, and he played for the Royals too, I think, but he had a game. I remember this too. He pitched, right? I think he went to cover first and like got hurt. So they tell him, he's like, oh, I don't know if I feel good. The trainers are trying to talk to him. They're
Hmm.
like, yeah, so do you want to test yourself and throw on the mound? He's like, all right, whatever. He throws on the mound and tears his hamstring throwing on the mound.
Oh my God. What?
Yes. Oh
I
man, how
don't
could
remember that.
that was I forgot what year that was, but yeah, I remember that. Of course, us choking away a couple NL East leads to the Marlins and the Phillies. The Braves coming back down 10.5 games a couple years back. That was fun. For all the wrong reasons. Luis Castillo. This is a core memory. Luis Castillo dropping the fly ball against the Yankees. It was a Subway Series game. It was '07. It was I forgot what game it was. It was later on in the season. He has a fly ball. The game is over. If you Luis Castillo, former Minnesota Twin. I got it. I got it. Nobody's around him. He bobbles the ball. Yankees won on a walk off.
Oh my God.
Yep, there was that. And then the last one I remembered, I had to write it down. I remember this is Wilmer Flores getting traded in the middle of the game. And then the trade fell through. He was supposed to go to the Brewers. He plays for the Giants now, for anybody who forgot. But he was supposed to go to the Brewers, I think. We were supposed to get Carlos Gomez, who was a Mets prospect, funny enough. Trade fell through. He's crying because he was been a Met lifer. They signed him since he was 16. So he's beside himself. He's crying on the field.
Yeah.
They tell him, all right, they announced the trade during the game. The trade fell through in like the later on in the game, and then he hits a walk-off home run.
Oh my. Are you serious?
Yes. So that's why Wilmer Flores is a fan favorite forever and ever. It doesn't matter. If Wilmer Flores played for the Braves, he'll get cheered for because of that moment. Now he wasn't terrible. He was actually a decent player, but a lot of people fell for him because like he was crying through innings. They're trying to talk him through, and then he hits a walk-off home run, and the trade fell through. So there's that. And then the last one, which is really infamous, I don't know if you remember this one. There was a Mets staffer by the name of Tony Bernazard, I think his name was. This is like '09, 2010. We were terrible.
Hmm.
So he got into it with some of the minor league players, and he ripped off his shirt and challenged a bunch of double A players to a fight. And then Omar Minaya got mad because a reporter found out about it and wrote about it.
When did this happen? This one
Oh,
slipped past
like it
me.
was like '09, 2010, give or take.
Wow.
This is like the tail end of Willie Randolph being gone. Who I liked Willie Randolph a lot. Um, because Arha was freaking awful. Oh my God. Look, memory bingo open up. But yeah, those are a couple. So yeah, that's the life of being a Mets fan.
Well, I tell you, man, you got your fair share. It's just like a laundry list of low moments for for this franchise.
Scams, fights, injuries.
It's like
Oh
one
man,
stop shop.
man, the Duano Sanchez cab ride. Oh man, that's a good story too. But
Man,
yeah,
talk about that.
I don't. I'm trying to remember that story. I think like he got injured in the cab or something like that. I forgot what happened with. I'm gonna find that story right now. Let's look at the Duano Sanchez cab ride. Okay, let's see here. That's what it was. So Duano Sanchez was in the cab, um, and they were in Florida. So they get a cab, uh, and the a Crown Victoria. I forget it was a Crown Vic. I think it was a car. It sideswiped the cab that they were in, going to like another to going somewhere. They were playing. I think they were playing in Florida at the time, if I recall correctly. I know what happened in Florida, but I don't remember if they were playing. But it's Duaner Sanchez. He was a reliever. Him and his two friends. They get in a car. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go eat and then go to where we got to go after." While they're on their way there, a drunk driver sideswiped the taxi cab and it hit them so hard he separated his shoulder. His season was over.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, if it ain't one
So
thing, it's another with these Mets, man. Golly, I didn't realize there was so much misfortune with the
yeah,
squad.
yeah. We don't like Jason Bay because we should have signed Matt Holliday that year. But that's another. That's the Wilpons for you.
Man, thanks, Will Ponds.
We
So
got.
now
Thank
we're
you.
going to get into the 5 questions portion of the program. So this
Let's
one, the
do it.
first and last question are the same question I ask every guest I have on here. Questions two
Cool.
through four are 100% random. So question number one, what were Nelson's go-to school lunch items?
Oh man, school lunch items. It was definitely like Lunchables. If I could get a Snapple, it was a Snapple or a Sibs juice box. One of the two. The third one, it was some Linden's, man. Chocolate chip cookies.
Man,
Those are the
I don't think I've ever had anybody on here mention Lunchables for their school lunch items, man. Good call.
that was the time when they were heavy.
Yeah, they were. They were hitting hard out here in these
Yeah, nah,
streets.
they swept the market.
Question number two. What's your favorite restaurant in Charlotte?
Oh, that's tough. Since I've been out here, favorite restaurant. I'm gonna go pizzeria. It's Do Amici because it's the closest thing to New York pizzeria out here.
Okay.
It's on the northern
So
part, so
you get it's like a taste of home whenever you bite into it.
closest. They're a little too heavy on the cheese sometimes, but overall they're solid. So that's my go-to.
Okay. Question number three. What's your favorite YouTube channel?
If it isn't my own, that's a really good one too. I'm gonna just go on the random subscriptions off the top of my head. I'm going to go with there's a guy. I don't know if you ever heard of Foot Doctor Zach.
Mm-mm.
He does performance reviews for sneakers, but he's a podiatrist. So he cuts the shoe in half to show the tech, like what's inside the shoe, like how it works as a podiatrist.
Yeah.
So I've used him for sneaker reviews, like for playing basketball, like for the gym, and he's been incredible. So that's one of my favorite. Every time I see him reviewing a shoe I want to get, I'm like, yeah, I'm locking into that. He actually put a video out, I put it in my watch list. Um, he cut every retro Air Jordan from 1 to 20, from 1 to now. It's
Wow.
like 45 minutes. So I have that on my watch list. And then my second one I'm actually mentioning, you'll like this because you're a fan of hip hop, of course. You ever heard of It's the Real? The two
Yes.
white boy twins? Have
Yes.
you watched Two Jews and Three Black Dudes with them in the locks?
Yes. I listened to
The
the listener
fuck,
question one at work today.
yo. Now I'm halfway through. But when Sheik Luch said Don Cheadle and Ice Spice got a star in Styles P movie, I almost threw my laptop off the desk.
Hey man, stop. Sheik Luch is funny as shit, bro.
He is so for no reason because he's like an old man. He has like
Yeah.
old man humor, but like all three of them are just hilarious to watch. I think it's more relatable because being from up there too, and they're like that. Like I've seen Jada in person, they're the same exact way. I've seen them a million times live in concert, but that podcast be having me on the floor for no reason because it's
Me
just
too.
obscure references, like them talking about the Last Dragon, the Big Trouble in Little China one I watched recently. That one had me
Yes.
crying. That one was funny because they so I was like, he's the illest. Yo, he a truck driver and he helped his man's out. He's real. Well, I'm like,
The
oh
last
man.
Dragon episode is hands down my favorite.
Oh my God, that one. They have so many, man. Sheik Luche and Black Panther is one of the funniest things ever. It's like, man, we crashed. Like the Uber died, the Uber broke down, and I hate that movie. I'm like, all right, Sheik.
Oh
But hey,
my
man,
God. I'm gonna go back and listen to that one again tomorrow morning at work.
man, that one was funny, and they're very interactive with their comments too. Because like I think I mentioned the Big Trouble in Little China, where I kind of told them that Mortal Kombat is actually influenced by that movie, the game.
Hmm.
Like literally, Mortal Kombat. I tell people is Big Trouble in Little China, Star Wars, and Enter the Dragon in one thing. And if you watch them, it makes total sense. So they're very
Yeah.
interactive with the comments too. Those are like 1A, 1B to me right now, for sure.
Yes, sir. Question number 4. What was your worst airport experience?
Oh, damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of airport experiences. Um, you know what? It's a recent one with my fiance. So her family is in her she's Dominican, her family is in the Dominican Republic. So we had to fly where from Charlotte we had to go to Miami and then Miami, the flight there. So coming back, she had gotten sick. It wasn't like anything COVID related. I didn't know if it was something we didn't know what it was, but she was like, I can like barely move, and we had to get to the next flight. So while we're going through customs, she wasn't feeling well. We sat. I was sitting her down. The TSA people were really nice. They were helpful. They helped me out. They had a paramedic go. She was fine. Fortunately, she's like, I'm just trying to get back home. Like literally, the flight's only an hour away, hour and a half away. Like I just want to get back to my house. So like whatever we can to get back to Charlotte, we get back to. So I was trying to get her like a wheelchair or something just so I could get her to the gate. Cause she's like, I don't care. I just need to get to the gate and sit down and I'm good. She was dealing like with really bad stomach pains. It was a whole mess. So I'm trying to talk to the lady, and the lady's like, where is she? And I'm like, listen, she's sitting down, like she was like by the bathroom sitting down because like she couldn't move it. And I'm like, I'm just trying to get her to the gate. Can you like please, like whatever? The lady's like, nah, you have to bring her here. I'm like, she cannot move. And they're all like we're going back and forth with the lady. I'm like, you know what? I was like, fuck this. I'm like, yo, I don't even need your help anymore. So I go, I got her like whatever she needed to. I got her something to eat, something to drink. I'm like, okay, can you make it? Fortunately, we got there. The lady walked past me. I was going to the bathroom. If looks could kill, she would have been dead right there. I was like, you can't even like the woman's literally sitting down. You can't even help her. They're like, oh, you got to sign this whole thing and do all this, and I'm like, all right, that was a really bad experience. For not it was for me, but most of seeing my fiance in that state and seeing this woman who did not want to help her, that put me on a whole other edge that like I've never dealt before. Aside from that. I haven't really had too much of a bad. I just don't like TSA workers sometimes because they're very mean for no reason. They tell you to do one thing and like it's little stuff. They tell you to do one thing and then they say don't do that, do the other thing. They'll tell you put your bag in the bin, then they say not to do it, like little stuff like that. But overall, I kind of figure that as like normal instances. Um, but yeah, fortunately, I haven't. That was the worst experience that I've had at an airport for sure. And I've had some long flights, I've had some delays, but that definitely was the worst one for sure.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, well, never mind. I almost got arrested that day. I'm not gonna lie. But anywho, yeah,
All right, so we'll boost the move for the last question.
for
What's the
sure.
last thing that really made you laugh?
The last thing that really made me laugh, man, that episode, man, Don Cheadle and Ice Spice and Styles P's Invincible had me cracking up for 30 minutes. That was crazy. Like I live for like humorous things like that. So that was one of them for sure.
Word. So, wrapping up the show, is there anything you want to plug or promote? The floor is yours. Let the people know where they can find you.
Oh man, for sure. So you can follow me personally at Who Is Original. That's WHOISORIGINEL. I If you want to show your work, I literally tweet damn near the same way, just about the stuff I like. So I talk about anything. But otherwise, follow the union at the union. I think it's underscore the union underscore on Twitter. That's pretty much my like pretty much a conglomerate, like Danny says. It's us at Show Your Work Network. Um, our guys at Mick Carter's and Catering, where they talk about wrestling. Man, Guessing from the Stand. Shout out to Earl Got Soul. Shout out to the whole Guessing from the Stands crew. Um, Man, pretty much all of our stuff is right there, so you can follow us. We have all of our networks there. Shout out to the, also the affiliates, man. Critically Unfocused. Shout out to Jamal Shakur. Shout out to Hanging with the Crew. Shout out to Donnie Lucci. But yeah, the union at THE __ union _. And then Twitter wise for Show Your Work Network, SYWNET on all platforms. Beacons.ai /SYWNET is where you can find all our stuff. And then otherwise, Twitter, on YouTube, Show Your Work Network, Twitch, SYWNET. We have our episodes there every Thursdays, 9:30 Eastern. You'll see me streaming once in a while, playing games and just, shooting the breeze. We'll see Winston on there too. But otherwise, man, just search Show Your Work Network or beacons.ai /SYWNET, and you'll have all our links there, all of our YouTube, Twitter, audio, the Discord, everything. So you can find us there. We cover all grounds. That's the best way I can explain to people what our podcast is. It's literally just a stream of consciousness.
It's a very well-oiled machine. So make sure y'all show your workout. Make sure you check out the union. And thank y'all for checking out At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Nelson, man, thank you so much for being a guest, man. I had a lot of fun just hearing your misfortunes and your woes as a Mets fan.
Hey, listen, man, they groomed me to be a better person. They have a lot of patience and loyalty. But Danny, man, appreciate you for having me on. I know you are busy, man. I just want to say I appreciate everything you do, because you are a man of many talents and many podcasts, and you talk about cover bases. Like, I never seen somebody do a candle smelling podcast, and that's incredible. So I'm gonna give you your credit for that amongst everything else. So anytime you want me on all the other platforms, you could definitely hit me up. As you know, we talk about anything and everything, so I'm definitely down for that.
Yes, sir. You officially have an open invite. Anytime you want to come chop it up, you always have doors always open.
Likewise. Appreciate you, Danny.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you too, man. So thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like, download, or subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find videos for every episode of this podcast, as well as my Candle podcast, the aforementioned A Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth. Since we last spoke with Danny Foxworth, and my other podcast, Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny, for Nelson and myself, this has been another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.